who's also a friend of the family, and Shema Cohen, a longtime member of CBH and the chorus, and they will be leading some of the prayers together with me and Gabby, and Will has his guitar, so that will be really wonderful. I hope if you don't know the prayers, if this is your first time at a bat mitzvah or in a synagogue, no worries. There will be opportunities to lie, as we just did, a song without words and a nigun and a melody. We also encourage you to put some noise into it. If you can't sing along with the words, you can snap your fingers, clap your hands. And please join in to make it a very celebratory, or as we would say in Yiddish, freiliche occasion. All right, I think, are we ready to go? We're starting almost on time. All right, so I don't have another nigun, so maybe Gabby, you ready to start us off? I would like to invite our bat mitzvah to lead us in the opening prayer, Ma Tovu, on page 141.
Ma Tovu, O Alecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael. Ma Tovu, O Alecha Yaakov, Mishkanotecha Yisrael.
How good it is to be together and to celebrate together. At this time, I'd like to invite Barb and John Perlmutter, Gabby's grandparents, to present her with her talit. If you are going to be wearing a talit this morning, as we are, after Gabby receives the gift of her talit, she will lead us in a blessing for wearing and putting on the talit. So get your towels ready. And that's going to be on page 143.
Are
you saying any words to her?
we saying any words to her? Gab? It seems like yesterday you were
This way.
she has to say.
Did you have anything you wanted to say to her?
Hey, Gabby.
Congratulations.
Gabby.
You made it.
Okay, words that we have to say to you. 13 years ago, something wonderful really happened to us, and that was my Gabby. We couldn't wait. You have been nothing but a joy and too much fun, and we only wish you lots of mazel and more happiness. We love you.
Thank you. Okay, so instead of applauding, we'll say mazel tov or yasher koach. Mazel tov. Okay, you ready, Gabby? Coming close. If you are wearing a talit this morning, if you want to stand up and get ready to put this on, Gabby's going to lead us in the blessing.
Not yet.
Ready?
Baruch.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
Just this. Thank you.
It's beautiful. It's almost as pretty as Gabby.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, we'll see you again later. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Okay. And now we will officially begin our service. Ready? With the morning blessings on page 153. I'm going to lead a selection of the blessings. So if you follow along, it's 152 and 53. You'll get the gist. I'm going to do the Hebrew at the beginning, some English, and then if you want to say Amen, Gabby's going to tell you when to do that by jumping in with an Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei ha'olamim, who removes sleep from my eyes and slumber from my eyelids.
Amen.
Page 157. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei ha'olamim, who makes the blind to see.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei ha'olamim, who clothes the naked.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei ha'olamim, who makes the captives free.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu chei ha'olamim, who raises up the humble.
Amen.
Page 161. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Cheolamim, who made me in your image.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Cheolamim, who made me free.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Cheolamim, who made me of the people Israel.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Cheolamim, who gives strength to the weary.
Amen.
Elohai Neshama, page 165.
Elohai neshama shenatata b'tehorahi. 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 Now that we've completed the morning blessings, we're moving on to the next part of our service, Sukkei de Zimra, songs, or psalms of praise to God. And I'm pleased to invite Will Robertson and Shayna Cohen up to the other mic. And please turn to page 177. This is a call and response, so you'll see how to join in. Or a
So
two-part.
this is actually a three-part round.
Round.
Shabbat Shalom. I'll sing the first part for you. Join in. There's 4 words and it's all on one note. 3 words actually, one note repeated. So, and then we'll add some harmonies above it. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shema, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shema, Baruch Hu,
Baruch Shema, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shema, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shema, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shema, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shema, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shema, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shema, Baruch Shema, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shema, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shema, Yasher Koach. On Shabbat, we have time for much praise to God and we give thanks. It's a time of showing gratitude for what we have. Gabby, look around. It's a moment of gratitude for being here together with you. So we're going to sing the Psalm for Shabbat, just a little bit of it, page 208 and 209. If you'll join me in the English below the line on page 208. This is an interpretive version of the psalm. I believe it's by Rami Shapiro. It is good to give thanks. Why? Does God need our praise? No, we do. To awaken to wonder, to holiness, to God. It is good to give thanks for through thanksgiving comes awakening. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon, lahagid baboker chastecha, ve'emunatecha ba'leilot. And on page 211, the last 4 lines. If you know this one from camp, join with me. Tzadika tamar yifrach ke'erez balvanon yizkeh shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun deseva deshenim verananim yehiyu lahagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri below avlatabo. We turn to page 215. Gabby will lead us in one of my favorite songs, Esa'enai.
Esa'enai
El Harim Me'ayin Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. Esa'enai El Harim Me'ayin Me'ayin Yavo Ezri. Ezri Me'im Adonai Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz. Ezri Me'im Adonai Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz. Eshakach. We turn now to page 231, the last psalm in the book of Psalms, Psalm 150. Gabby's going to lead us in a very raucous tune. This talks about how the psalms were sung in the temple in ancient times with cymbals and harps and lutes and all kinds of musical instruments. So you get the idea. Gabby, page 231.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol Shema Hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol Shema Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. We're going to sing a half Kaddish now on page 245, and we're transitioning now from the warm-up, the morning blessings and the songs of praise and gratitude into the morning service, the actual morning service, which Gabby and I are going to lead together, right? So just imagine for a moment how much preparation went into all of these little services put together. You're doing great. Feel good? Okay, I think I'm on for this one. Right after this page, this prayer, the Kaddish, we're going to turn to 247. I'm going to ask you to rise in body or spirit, and I'm going to invite Jess and Adam Perlmutter to get ready to come and open the ark. So we'll open the ark for the prayer that comes immediately at the beginning of the morning service. Everybody ready? Okay. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei racha b'yamad divrach v'yirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechonu
Uchayedecho Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Bagala, Uvizman Kariv, V'yimeru Amen. Yehi Shnei Rabam Mevorach, Leolam Leom Leomah, Yidvarach, Yidvarach, V'yishtabach, V'yipar, V'yitrama, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei Kudesha B'rechu, Le'elam, Mikol Berchata, V'shirata, Tushbechata, V'nechamata, Dami Rabbi Alma, V'yimeru, Amen. My ark openers, Jess and Adam. Come on up. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. You may be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol. I want to invite Gabby's grandparents, Linda and Lee Frankel, to join me here for a reading of the first blessing is about creation, God as the creator.
Every day creation is renewed. Wake up and see unfolding in the speaking light of dawn, the world and all it contains, coming into being new, fresh, filled with divine goodness and love. Every day creation is renewed, reflected in the great lights we see new day, one precious day, eternity.
Amen. Yeshua. The second blessing, as we're getting ready to recite the Shema, is on page 275. The first blessing before the Shema, the first blessing of the morning service is about God as the creator, and the second blessing is about God's love for humanity, for people. And this is one time we sort of practice this. If you are wearing a talit and you so desire, we talk about God gathering in all the exiles from the four corners of the world, and we imitate that, or we act that out by gathering our tzitzit from the four corners of our talit. I'm going to go ahead and sing. It's the second paragraph, and it is not transliterated, but you can see in the Hebrew there's a little star there. And then I'm going to turn to Gabby, who's going to lead us in the recitation of the Shema, one of the central prayers. Oop, okay. And you might know the melody. You can certainly hum along if the melody is familiar. V'havienu l'shalom me'arba kanfot haaretz v'tolichenu kol memiut le'artzeinu ki el Yeshuotata v'keravtanu l'shimcha hagadol sela b'yemet lehodot lecha u'yachedcha b'yahava Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Page 277.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בשבתך בביתך ובמלאכתך בדרך ובשופטך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. And if you are gathered your tzitzit, you may drop them. You turn ahead to page 291. The third blessing, the one that follows the Shema on Shabbat morning, is about redemption. And it's a pretty famous one. There's a famous song in there, Mi Chamocha, which is what the Israelites sang when they were standing ready to cross the Red Sea, or when they crossed the sea in the book of Exodus. So for this one, we're sort of getting ready for the central prayer of the morning service, which is affectionately referred to as the Amidah, the standing prayer. So when we get to the end of this section, everyone will kind of be cued to stand up and create a space around you if you want to. I know you're all sitting kind of close together, but kind of get ready to create a sacred space. And that is the Amidah, is the time where we have personal meditation, private meditation before God. So that's where we're headed. You ready? I like to do the melody that I learned. It's apparently a German melody written by Lewandowski. And so if you know it, great. And if you don't know it, again, just make some noise. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha ne'edar ba'kodesh, norah tehilot osei felech, shira chadasha shibachu ge'ulim l'shimcha al sefatayim, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובדק נעמך יהודה וישראל. Go Aleinu, Adonai Tzevot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. We rise and we turn to page 294 and 295. The first meditation before the silent meditation, before the blessings of the Amidah, we request that God opens our lips so that we can actually talk to God. And it ends with a prayer for peace. So after you're finished with your silent meditation and you're ready, you can be seated, and that will be a signal for Will and Shana, who are going to lead us in the prayer for peace at the conclusion. All right, so you're going to lead us and open our lips? Together?
Sure.
Adonai. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Adonai sifatai tiftachu v'ya v'tehilatecha. Open my lips, beloved one, and let my mouth declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Koneh HaKol,
וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, בעזרת שרה. We continue quietly and privately. Listen for the moment.
This is a call and response. Shana is joining me from the congregation where she'll be singing with all of you. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Let there be peace for us, for all Israel and the whole. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al Shalom yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam.
Shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Yasher koach. We continue with another transitional Kaddish, page 381, Kaddish Shalom, or Kaddish Titkabel. Yikada v'yikada shmei Rabba, v'yalma divra firte v'lefachtute, b'chayachon v'yamechon v'chayachon b'eit Yisrael, b'gala b'zman kariv v'yimeru, Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach, le'olam le'ol me'omaya. Yishtavach v'yitpar v'yituram v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalav shmei kudasha v'rifu le'ela mikol berchata v'shirata tishbachata v'nechamata da'amiram v'yama v'yimeru Amen. Tikabel tzloton uv'dahon d'chol Yisrael kadama v'hon d'v'yishmaya v'yimeru Amen. Yehi shlom rabba min shemai v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimeru. Amen. And we have arrived at the Torah service. This was all the warm-up to the big piece. So Gabby, it's pretty much you from here. Are you ready? Take a sip of water. I'd like to invite Matt and Amanda Frankel to come up and open the ark, and as the ark is opened, I'll ask those of you who can to rise. Everyone at home, rise in body or in spirit. And here we go. Bring your siddur. Page 385. Vayedi b'nso ha'aron, vayomer Moshe, Kuma Adonai, ve'yafutzu oivecha, ve'yanusu misanecha mipanecha, ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, u'devar Adonai me'Yerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato. Sorry, all my sticky notes are in this one. Page 393. Ready? Right shoulder. Take it down there like a baby. Turn it around. Carefully. Feel close there. That door first. Ready? And this is also a call and response. Nice and loud.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Eloheinu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Lecha Adonai Hagedula v'Hagevura v'Hatiferet v'Hanetza v'Hahod Kivol b'Shamayim u'Ba'aretz Lecha Adonai HaMelech v'Haminaseh l'Kol l'Rosh Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'Nishtachatu You may be seated. Okay. Do you have everything we need over here? Excellent. I'm happy to have Shana back here on the reading table with us, at the reading table. Shana and I are serving together as the Gabbai Rishon and Shani. One of us, I think it's going to be me, because I have all the names down and in front of me, is going to be calling up members of the Perlmutter's extended family, and then the third one will be the bat mitzvah herself, Gabby. Gabby is going to read from the Torah, and in between there'll be some blessings and things. If you would like to follow along in the Torah reading is found in your program. I think it's the end, toward the end. You'll see it's in Genesis. I knew what it is. She thanks. I'll take the colored one. I'm going to take the highlighted one. Genesis 8, 6 through 14. We're reading from the Torah portion that tells the story of Noah, and it's called Parshat Noah. And Gabby knows this, but we're not only celebrating her bat mitzvah today, I am celebrating, I'm not going to tell you which one, the anniversary of my bat mitzvah. So it's really a great privilege to be on the bima with you while you are reading from the same portion that I read from just a few years ago. Okay. If you would like to follow along in the Torah blessings, although it's really not necessary, they are on page 399. Ready? Ready? Vayazor yagim b'chol yashir b'chol hakosim b'ofen amar amen. Hakol havu godel Eloheinu tnu kvad kol haTorah ya'amdu. John and Bar, Perlmutter, Lehman, DeFranco, Gedalia, Yisrael, Lina, Ariel, Yaakov, Leah, Sarah, grandparents of the bat mitzvah, Leah, Rishana, Baruch, Shanatan, Torah, Lema, Yisrael, B'Kedushato. And part of why we are here is to help to follow along while Gabby is reading. There are no vowels. The version you have is much easier to read. So in case she gets stuck, which she won't.
Baruchu et Adonai HaTorah.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher b'tavanu mikol ha'amim. V'natanu et Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Vayitach Noah eton hateva asher asa vayishach et hayoleh vayitzo yaso vasho ad mavoshet hamayim meyar haaretz vayishach et hayoma meito levotokalu hamayim meyar pnei ha'adama.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נותר בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, נותן התורה.
Amen. Mazel tov. Yasher koach. Yeah. We're all family.
Move on that side.
Exit left. We exit left.
Yes. For the second aliyah, I'm going to call up Gabby's parents. We're going to have a quick consultation when they come up. Ya'amdu, Miriam Ariel, Bad Yaakov, Leah, Sarah, Shimon, Pinchas, Ben Gedalia, Israel, Ubina, Ariel, Melissa and Jay Perlmutter, parents of Gabby, the Bat Mitzvah, La'aliyah Shenit. This one. Okay, that's all. All right, Jay, you want to switch the place?
Baruch Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher chormanu la'avodato, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vatashov elav el hateva, ki mayim al pnei kol haaretz, vayishalach yado, vayikachecha, vayovei ota elav el hateva, v'hayel od shivat yamim achirim, vayosef sholach et hayona min hateva, vatava elav hayona la'et erev, v'hinei alei zayit terach b'fiha, v'yeda Noah, ki kalu hamayim me'al haaretz.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. Mazel tov, grandparents, you can be seated. And if mom and dad, you want to stand on either side, and go ahead and hold it. One of you on either side, and you can hold the Torah open. So give Shema 2 hands and you 2 hands. Okay. Gabby, you ready? Okay. The third aliyah is honored. We honor our bat mitzvah, Gabriella Perlmutter. And she's already standing, but I'm going to call her to stand up. So this is a new standing up. You ready? Ta'amod, ta'amod, ta'amod. Habachurat habat mitzvah. Chaya Goldie bat Shimon Pinchas and Miriam Ariel. Gabriella Perlmutter la'aliyah shlishit. Fix the place. Yeah. Show yourself the place. Ready?
Baruch Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirvanu le'avodato, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayachal od shivat yamim achirim, vayishalach et hayona, v'lo yasfashu v'elav od, vayehi miketz v'chat v'sheish menoah shana, v'rishon v'chat lahodesh havu hamayim me'al haaretz, vayasar Noah et mitzvah hateva asher vayar v'hine והשני בשינה בעשרים יום החודש ישב הארץ. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וכי יהיה לעולם נטע בתוכנו ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Yasher Kov, Mazel Tov. How do you feel? I'm going to let your parents go sit down, but just for a minute. Come around the front here. And yeah, if you want to sit right there. And I'm also going to invite Gabby to take a breath and sit down, and invite Will Robertson up to lead a prayer for those who are in need of healing called the Mizvah. Those of you who are joining us online, if you're on Zoom and you have names of people who you are keeping in mind who are in need of healing, please feel free to put them in the chat. Those of you who are here in the sanctuary, if you would like to say the names aloud or quietly to yourself, you're welcome to do that, or you can just keep the people's names that are in need of healing in your hearts. And will you cue folks? Should I ask them now too? Yeah. Okay, so now before Will starts, if you'd just like to ground yourself, think of everyone who's in need of healing, and call out those names if you'd like.
Judy Caroline. That's already gone.
And they receive complete healing. There's also a call and response.
May all who are in need of healing in body and in spirit, please find healing speedily. We continue with a few more Mishaberic blessings. These are a little more happy in nature. The first one is a Mishaberic for our bat mitzvah. That's you, so come on back up. I printed it out in really big print, but I still need the old lady glasses. Okay. Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech et Chaya Goldi bat Shimon Pinchas Miriam Ariel Shehegia l'mitzvot ve'alta hayom l'kvod hamakom v'l'kvod haTorah HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmereha v'yichayeha v'yichonen et libach L'hiot shlema, vayishlach bracha v'hatzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yadeha v'namar. Amen. May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Chaya Goldi bat Shimon, the daughter of Shimon Pinchas, and Miriam Ariel, Gabriella Perlmutter, as a bat mitzvah, who has read from the Torah and has been called to the Torah as a bat mitzvah today, one who has reached the age of Jewish adulthood. No pressure. May the Holy One protect and sustain her in this next stage of her life. May God direct her heart to a sense of wholeness and to recognize her accomplishments. May God bless the works of her hands and grant her peace. And together we say, Amen. Okay, and now I'd like to invite, because it's not just Gabby's achievement, obviously, it takes a village and a family. So I'd love to invite Melissa and Jay up. And Josh, if you want to come up too for this blessing. It's a family blessing. Okay, now they can put their hands on you and then whatever. Okay. Friends at home. Okay. This one's really special for me also because, as Gabby, you pointed out to me, I knew your mom and worked with your mom when you were in utero. We'll talk more about that later. No, we won't talk about it. But I've known Melissa for a really long time. Again, we don't have to say how long. And we're both from kind of the same place in New Jersey, so we have a lot of connections. And I haven't known Jay as long, but it feels like it in a good way. All right, it's a real pleasure. Ready? This is your blessing for the parents mostly. Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'Imotenu Sarah Korach v'Leah Yivarech et Horei habachurat habat mitzvah Shimon Pinchas ben Gedalia Yisrael bina Ariel ve'et Miriam Ariel bat Yaakov v'Leah Sarah kishem sheyizku lagadla ad hayom hazeh keyizku lahamshich lahadrich et bitam HaKadosh Baruch Hu yichazkem yamtzem uverchem b'chesed u'v'shalom v'nomar Amen. May God who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Shimon Pinchas ben Gedalia Yisrael bina Ariel, that's Jay, Perlmutter, and Miriam Ariel bat Yaakov Leah Sarah, that's Melissa, parents of Gabby who has celebrated her bat mitzvah today. Just as they have been privileged to raise their daughter until now, may they be privileged to continue to guide her on the path to full adulthood. May the Holy One grant them strength and courage and patience and the wisdom to know when to hold her close and when to let her go. Bless them with nachas, joy and fulfillment on this day and on every day. And we say together, Amen. Mazel tov. Mazel and tov. Okay. Oh, you know what? If you stay for one more second, I'm going to indulge if you would rise in body or in spirit. This is a real Shapiano moment, so come on over here. For so many reasons. It's my first bat mitzvah of the new year. It's the anniversary of my bat mitzvah. There's a special blessing that we say when we've reached an incredible, pivotal, celebratory moment in Jewish tradition, and that is called Shapiano. And maybe, Shana, you can give me a key on the Debbie Freeman. There are other people who sing better, and you know what I learned today? Another Shapiano moment. It's my first time officiating in a mask. And it actually takes more breath and is very heat-making on one's face, even more than when I'm on the rower or the treadmill at the gym just then. So many Shapianos, and I'm so glad that we are able to be together in this moment with you. Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'ehlianu, v'kiyanu, v'higyanu l'azman hazeh. Amen. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, who has sustained us and kept us in life and enabled us to reach this moment. Amen. All right. Now you can get out. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to ask everybody, though, to please remain standing. And I'm going to invite, I guess I'm going to call up Jared and Amanda Lasky. If you're ready, I know you're ready. Okay, you know what? You can here's your siddur, and you can kind of head back over there. We're going to get the mic out of the way for you. So, Jared, why don't you come on this side? And I've called them up, and now I'm going to call them up officially. Ya'amdu hamagbiya v'hagalelet. And here they are. V'zot ha'torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al-pi Adonai ve'yad Moshe. Is it right? Ordinarily, I'd say the Torah rests, but not quite yet. We're going to put it back on the table. If you need to be seated, of course you may. But. Thanks, Shema. The Torah rests, and you may be seated. I believe that there are some people coming around, smaller people coming around and handing out. You know what? I didn't give them a cue, so they didn't start yet. So we're just going to take a breath. They're coming around with candy, which I think has a very crinkly wrapper. Don't eat it. Don't open it yet. If you could, very quickly, guys. All right. So Gabby's getting ready. Once you have that candy, if you can't help yourself from crinkling it, just put it on the floor below your seat. I'll tell you when you need it. Thank you. You ready to get pelted?
No,
Okay.
I'm not. I'm scared of my friends. There's very strong people who can hurt me.
All right. So I'm told that Gabby's friends who are here from school are very strong and have good throwing arms. So and they're kind of close to her. But this excitement, the showering Gabby with the sweetness of the candy, doesn't happen until after she's finished teaching us her words of Torah, which she worked very hard to prepare. So if you find it irresistible, and I totally understand it, personally I like to throw chocolate kisses, but they're a little harder. But I just eat them. I don't even try, especially if I'm in the back of the synagogue. You know, what's the point? But if it's totally irresistible, just put them under your seat or next to you on your seat. Take them out of your hands. I don't want you to miss a word of what Gabby is going to say. All right, let's see. Amazingly, I have lots and lots of, oh, here we go. I have so many papers, so little time. You have your devar, right? Okay. As I mentioned earlier, Gabby read from Parshat Noah, the section of the Torah at the very beginning in the book of Bereshit in Genesis, just the second section that talks a little bit about a very famous flood. I'm not going to say anything, but the most overlooked chapter, so she only read a little tiny piece, right, these 3 sections, but we studied the entire section together, and it's pretty long. I remember from my bat mitzvah and also from studying with Gabby. It's many chapters. It's one of the longest ones in the book. So Gabby decided to zero in on a very famous story, but it's one that doesn't usually get talked about. Like, the rabbi never gives a sermon on this, because Noah, right? So what are you going to talk about? The ark, the flood, the animals. There are so many topics that you could zero in on. Gabby chose one that's really special to her. So I want to make sure that everyone can hear her. So again, if you've got the candy, just kind of put it down. And Gabby, I'm just going to remind you, take your time and speak clearly. And we do have permission for Gabby, because I'm going to exit Fatima, to take off her mask so that you can see and hear her very clearly. All right, you are the rabbi now.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Really quickly, I have a joke. How would the rabbi make his coffee? He brewed it. Recently, I learned an interesting thing about languages and how being able to speak the same language helps bring people together. In Africa, there are hundreds of tribes and languages, making it quite difficult for people from different tribes to communicate. So, they started to create a simple language to communicate, and it is called Pidgin. Pidgin languages basically take different languages and put them together using common grammar rules and creating a more simple and unified language. Having a common Pidgin language helps prevent wars because they can discuss issues and make treaties and agreements. This helps build bonds of trust and unity among the people. The need for people to communicate goes back thousands and thousands of years. Genesis chapter 11 tells the story of one group's attempt to use language to create unity that goes completely haywire. The actual story begins like a fairy tale with the Bible's version of Once Upon a Time. And it was, everyone on the earth had the same language and same words, and they all lived in the same place. This group was living in the valley of Shinar. They decided to build a tower of bricks because they believed that if they didn't, then they would be scattered all around the world. They said to each other, "Come, let us build us a city and a tower with its top in the sky to make a name for ourselves, or else we shall be scattered all over the world." When they were building the tower, they had one language that kept them unified. It was easy for them to get started on the project, making bricks and mortar and building it higher and higher. They believed by building the tower, they would be kept together in their great city. Here's the thing though, the people's project started off good, but turned drastically bad. There was one major flaw in the execution of their plan. Humans tend to get really focused on what they're doing and not notice the world around them. People are the same today as they were 100 years ago and even thousands of years ago. They ended up getting so focused on what they were building that they forgot the value of each other. According to one commentary, the Kliakar, written by a rabbi in Prague and published in 1602, the people building the tower became more and more eager to build their tower higher and higher. Soon the bricks they were using became more precious to them than human life. If a person fell down while he was working, they took no notice of it. But if a brick fell down from the top, they wept and cried, "Woe to us, how will we ever replace it?" There was a second problem with their tower. Their main reason for building it was they were so worried about not being separated. They were afraid of change, and they thought this tower would unify them. But change would eventually have to come. Things can't stay the same forever, and the same for all people. It's natural for things to change, and all people are not identical. If nothing changed or developed, life would be extremely boring. According to a 19th century rabbi, the Netziv, who was one of the greatest scholars of his time, the fact that the people all had one language meant they all believed in one core idea, and they wanted to prevent people from having different ideas and possibly leaving their city to live somewhere else. They built the tower to enforce sameness among the people and prevent diversity. This building project was no longer about creating unity. Instead, it was about destroying individuality. This is when God realizes the people must be stopped. God knew that having people speaking the same language, living in the same place forever, just wouldn't work over time. So God went down and confused their speech so they couldn't understand each other and scattered them all around the world. In this story, God understands something the people also knew, but were trying to avoid. They wanted their city to be grand and magnificent, so no one would want to leave and their lives would remain constant. They were looking for peace of mind. I understand why the people building the tower didn't want to face reality. However, no matter how much we might want things to stay the same, change will eventually come. We all learned this lesson during the pandemic. When COVID first hit, we all hoped things would go back to normal fairly quickly, but we soon realized that we would have to adapt to this new reality. Now we understand why COVID is still part of our lives, because we are able to adapt and give up our attachment to things, staying the same. We can be back at school and work and be able to do parts of this in person, and we are better able to prepare to deal with changes that will inevitably come in the future. I would like to thank Rabbi G for helping me with my speech and Torah portion. I would also like to thank Amy, who's not here today, for helping me with my Torah portion. Thank you to my grandma for making my tallahs bag, and my grandma and grandpa for getting my tallahs. I would like to thank my brother for his support. I would like to thank my parents for making all this possible. Finally, I'd like to thank all of you for coming on Zoom or in person.
If some of the people who handed out the candy want to grab some off of the floor, you can do that. At this, real quick. All right. Oh, and what a good friend. Sending it back to them. Thank you. Thank you for aiming for Gabby, not me. At this time, I'd like to invite Bernice Cohen, who's celebrating with us today. All right, cousins, be ready, because you have a part coming up soon. All right, go eat you can eat the candy while Bernice is talking. Get it open so that it's not crinkly. Right, why don't you come right here. Gabby, you can come a little closer, because you're not really talking, right?
Okay. Mazel tov, Yasher Koach. Good job. That was amazing. We're so proud of you. So, Gabby, on behalf of your spiritual home, Congregation Beit Chaverim, but also on behalf of your chosen Chavarah, those of us that have known you before you even arrived, I want to present you with your own Tanakh so that you may keep Judaism in your heart and lead your life through Jewish values. And we're just all so proud of you. And Mazel Tov to you, your family, the whole Perlmutter and Frankel family, and to everybody. We're so proud of you.
I know, it's their turn.
First of all, we're so happy to see all you guys here and on Zoom and everyone in person. So, okay. Gabby, I know that I am not alone in saying what a wonderful job you did today. I am so thankful that you could be surrounded by family and friends from near and far, both in person and virtually. Thank you all for being here and sharing this special day with Gabby and our entire family. Though this past year has been challenging for all of us, you have done remarkably well. You stayed focused on school and independently completed all of your work and ensured that you were on time and engaged in virtual classes. You stayed in touch with friends and family, and despite all of the togetherness, lots and lots and lots of togetherness, too much togetherness, you remained in good spirits, and we all remained happy with one another. So, somewhat. Over the past year or more, you have been diligent in your approach to studying your Torah portion and prayers and writing your Devar Torah. You have connected with Rabbi Gottfried and with Amy, and you have done a great job thinking critically about your Torah portion and connecting it to modern times. Your overall accomplishments today are a testament to your hard work and focus, and I am so very, very proud of you. Gabby, I am so proud of the young woman who you have become. You are smart, thoughtful, funny, with all your jokes, and fun. You are truly fun to be around, and I greatly appreciate the time we spend together. I love that you are excited to spend evenings with Dad and Josh and I, and of course Ace, watching movies and playing games. I love that you are always up for an adventure, from hikes to vacations, and I love that you have an insatiable appetite for reading. You are never without a book, reading in the car, on the steps while you wait for us to go somewhere, etc. And you are for sure the only teenager I know who sets an alarm for 6 o'clock a.m. just so you can read before school. I hope that you always find joy in reading and the knowledge and happiness it brings you. Recently, you have found fun in the kitchen, baking for yourself and others. This, combined with your love of animals, especially Ace, led to your Tikkun Olam project, where you baked human and dog treats and raised hundreds of dollars for a local animal rescue organization. You dedicated so much time and energy to this project, and you have truly helped so many animals. And I also know that you really felt a great sense of joy giving back and helping others. I am proud of your strong sense of independence and your comfort with who you are. You are self-aware and never let others inform who you should be or how you should act. As a young child, you would sometimes come home from school, and when I would ask who you played with on the playground, there were times you would say no one. As a mom, I was concerned, and I would ask why. Your response, matter of fact, I didn't want to do what they were doing, so I just didn't do it. You were never upset by it. You are not scared to do your own thing. You do not bow to peer pressure or conform to what others expect from you. What a great quality to have as you enter into Jewish adulthood. You are ready to take on the world, and we can't wait to see all that you accomplish and the woman that you become. I love you so very much, and I hope that you always live life happy, independent, and ready for adventure.
Before I talk about Gabby, I'd say thank you to everyone who's come today or joined us by Zoom. For those that have traveled from far away or just down the street, we sure appreciate your support and your presence. And for all those that have helped Gabby this year in getting ready, including Ace, thank you for all of the help. Gabby, one of the qualities I most admire about you is your conviction to do what you want and to not be afraid to try something new. Well, most of the time I admire this about you, but occasionally it has made being your dad a bit of a challenge. When you were about a year old, you started daycare for the first time. On the first day, you seemed confused, but happy to try it out. And on the second day, you ran off without looking back. You weren't afraid to try something new and have some fun along the way. You have shown the same spirit in trying new sports and activities. Just because you hadn't done it before wasn't going to deter you from trying it now. A couple of years ago, you decided to try drums at Cliff Valley. And then a couple weeks later, you said you were participating in the talent show. Mom and I looked at each other and wondered, what were you going to do for the talent show? But you wouldn't share the plan ahead of time. We were so nervous for you, but you confidently walked up there and played a drum solo. I'm not sure I could have done that with years of practice, let alone a few weeks. From daycare to summer camp to trying new sports and now tackling becoming a bat mitzvah, you have always ran headlong into what you wanted to do. This same spirit has been fitting and necessary in preparing for today. You were confident that we were having a bat mitzvah, and you were not going to let COVID stop your preparations. You met with Rabbi Josh last spring by Zoom for your B'nai Mitzvah class, and then you worked with Rabbi Gottfried by Zoom to study Torah and prepare for today. It sure wasn't the easy road, but you were not deterred from pushing ahead, and you did great. I hope you are as proud of yourself as Mom and I are of you today. I hope you always carry such confidence and excitement into what you do, but mostly have fun along the way. We can't wait to see what you tackle next.
She has the language too.
I can't stop this. Good. Okay. Mazel tov to both of you and to all of you. Gabby, I put in the notes that I was going to speak very briefly. Come into the middle. And I'm going to stand by that. I just want to make one correction. I'm really glad you brought your A game to everything today, especially the Devar Torah. I was ecstatic when you said you were going to start with a joke. We even discussed for weeks, which meme, what would work, what's visual humor, And when I heard the joke that you were telling, it's one of my favorites. But I just want to give you the update. The Rashi, right, the commentary on that is she French presses it. I know, it doesn't really work. So it's an old joke, but it's an oldie and a goodie. My experience of working with you, first on Zoom, at the end of a long day that you'd had school all day and I was on Zoom all day and our eyes were glazed over, Ace was in your lap, Henry was by my side, and yes, and I don't know if anyone caught it, it's a little bit of an inside joke, but you know, that big finish at the end of the Aliyah, ya-da-da-da-da, and the first time that you did that, Henry decided to steal your thunder and began howling, and you let him have that moment. Gabby showed up. She showed up every week on Zoom, and sometimes we only met for 15 or 20 minutes because really it was all we could take. And it was last spring, and we could feel it, we could taste it, that we were going to be out of this situation, and we were going to be in person, and it happened. And when it happened, and I showed up to tutor you on your back porch, and we started studying the Torah portion together, in person was amazing. It also involved the eating of baked goods. Sometimes ones that I brought, sometimes ones that were right out of the oven that you had made or your mom had made. And I felt like it was such a joy. Everything about working with you was a joy. And I hope that you're finding a lot of joy in this moment. And I want you to just look around and see, we made it here. Okay, we made it here and we're in masks and we have to be a bit socially distanced and maybe it's not everyone, but we're here and we're together. And I think that we are competing with the overhead air traffic. I think that at least it's not competing with Henry, that's true. He's louder than that. At least we acted out a part of the values that you talked about in your Devar Torah, and that's the value of community and unity, not uniformity. We're all not the same, and our lives are changing all the time. And I would like to say the one word that you didn't include, that the people had to learn then, and I think we learned during this COVID experience of preparing for this moment, was resilience. And you have shown a tremendous amount of strength, endurance, good humor, good spirit, and resilience, because things were changing literally up until Thursday, right? And up until this moment. And they'll be different again tomorrow. But just savor this moment. And I'd like to invite Will to come on up, if you would, and join me for a moment. It is a real honor and a real privilege to deliver one last blessing to you. And this one is a blessing that Rabbi Dale Friedman, Rabbi Dale is the interim rabbi here at CBH, and I believe she's joining us online. She sent it to me a couple of days ago that she composed for you and asked me to read on her behalf. And I asked Will to join me because I asked with Rabbi Dale's permission to offer you the prayer for peace. And Will and I are going to offer you that prayer for peace, the priestly blessing from the Torah that parents offer to their children. I know you're not my kid, but you know, I feel that close to you. And it's also a blessing that we say at life cycle occasions. And you know, who knows? It's said to couples under the chuppah when they get married. If I'm still in town, give me a call. Okay? All right. This is from Rabbi Dale. Gabby, I hope that you feel proud of all you have accomplished in becoming a bat mitzvah, especially in this tremendously challenging time. I pray that you will always turn to your Jewish tradition, to your Jewish community, and to your CBH family for inspiration, comfort, and strength. May you be blessed in all your comings and goings, in all the moments of your life, now and forever. And we say amen to Rabbi Dale. All right. Is it okay if we put our hands on your shoulders? All right, here we go. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
Ken Yehi Ratzon.
May God bless you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
Ken Yehi Ratzon.
May God shine divine light upon you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Ken Yehi Ratzon.
May God show favor to you and grant you peace.
Ken Yehi Ratzon.
Amen. Mazel tov. Thank you. Oh. To share the bima. And now I invite everyone to please rise in body or spirit.
We're going to, and I'm going to invite Josh, Hannah, Abby, Ava, and Brody. Come on up. We're going to open the ark. Grab your Siddur. All right, ready? So, Josh, remember you show them. You come on the right side. One of you go on the left side. And we are on page 433. All right, ready? Right shoulder. What's the baby? You got it? No. Flip it up a little bit more. Okay, face this way. Yeah, hallelujah, Shema Adonai, ki niskav Shem olevado, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, page 441, the last three lines. We have just a few concluding prayers. If everyone would remain standing and turn to page 445 for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shenatan lanu Torah emet, v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we meet on page 449 at the bottom. V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. You may be seated. I invite Bernice Cohen back to the bima. Bernice will lead us in the prayer for the end of hiding.
Thank you for including me in your special day. So if you want to follow along at the end of your program, our shul was founded by gay and lesbian Jews as a place where they could feel safe to pray. And to honor these founders and support those that hide their identity, our shul tradition is to recite the following prayer at every service. Even if you don't personally identify as an LGBTQ Jew, the we of this prayer, we invite you to open yourself to joining in this prayer to show solidarity with our LGBTQ friends and family. So, to the degree that we each feel comfortable, let us join our voices together in reciting the prayer for the end of hiding. As LGBTQ Jews, we are aware of the loss of the integrity we suffer due to the pressures of the larger society. We often feel forced into a dishonest presentation of ourselves to ourselves and others. The LGBTQ individuals who feel they must pretend to be something that they are not. The Jews who feel they must be alienated from their traditions and community to win larger acceptance. Both are victims of a theft of identity and integrity committed by the sexual, gender-identifying, or religious majority. Creator of the universe, we ask that our hiding draw to an end, that we no longer feel we have to pretend, to promise falsely, to renounce ourselves, and that our fullest creative expression as Jews and as lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, and queer people be among the blessings you bestow upon us.
Amen. Yasher Koach. In just a moment, we'll continue on page 451 with Mourner's Kaddish. Those of you who are joining us online, especially on Zoom, please add names to the chat for those you might be reciting Kaddish for. For those here in the sanctuary, if you're in a period of mourning or observing a yahrzeit, please rise in body and spirit. You may say the names aloud, quietly to yourself, or just keep in mind the people that you're remembering today. And it's the custom at CBH that the entire congregation stands when the communal response in the middle of page 451, when we reach there, that begins Yehei Shmei Rabbah. So those who are in mourning, please join me for Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shmei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach hirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omel maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitzalev v'yitzalal Shmei Dekudasha B'rechu. La'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, tishbechata v'nechemata, damiram v'yalma v'yimru Amen. Yehei Shloma Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, u'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru Amen. You may be seated. Can you believe it? Unflappable. I mean, even when we opened the Torah and she was reading from it from the first time, I was like, I'm ready, I got this. All right, well, take a look around because in a moment, everyone's going to, you're going to exit. Okay? And everyone will follow you. Before we sing our concluding prayer, Adon Olam, I just wanted to say Yasher Koach to Gabby, especially to everyone who participated in this morning's service, with a special shout out, Yasher Koach, and thank you to Will Robertson and Shayna Cohen, and to Haley Monet, as always, for being our backup, our program coordinator and Zoom master. I won't say everybody out loud, everybody's name, but there are a lot of special thank yous, especially to Will and Shayna. This is, as I mentioned, and to Bernice for your participation, and David for being our greeter. This is, we're tweaking it, right? There's a lot of change going on, and
It was highly successful, and we were able to do it because there are people with guitars who can sing well and have better breath control than I do. And Will is here not only because he's the chorus director, but is also a friend of the family. And so it's really special to have you here and to be able to share the bima with you. So, and I think Shana's already left. But they stepped up in ways that ordinarily wouldn't have been, part of the service, in order to make this a Freiliche, a happy event. So thank you to everyone who joined us. We are going to conclude with Adon Olam, and Josh, I think you're coming back up, that's what it says in my notes, to lead us in Adon Olam, which is on page 459. And just in terms of logistics, we're going to be having Kiddush and Motzi outside, and so the family will lead us out. I'll ask everybody to stay in their seats until we get to the very end of the prayer. So I'll have a solo at the end. All right. You've got your tune ready, right? You want me to start with you? Sure. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Li'et Nasa, B'chad Sokol, Azar Melech Shalom Nikra Adon Olam, V'yacharei kichlot hakol, Levado yimloch nara Adon Olam, V'hu haya, V'hu hoveh, V'hu yiyeh b'tzifara, Adon Olam, Asher malach, B'terem kol, Yitzir nivra, Li'et nasa, B'chad sokol, Azar melech shalom nikra Adon Olam, V'hu echad v'en sheni, lahashilo lahachbira Adon Olam, b'li reshit, b'li tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'hamizra Adon Olam, Asher malach, B'terem kol, Yitzir nivra, Li'et nasa, B'chad sokol, Azai melech shelo nikra Adon Olam, V'hu eli, V'chai go'ali, V'tzorchav li b'yetzara Adon Olam, V'hu nisi, Umanos li, Menat kosi v'yom nekra Olam, Adon Olam, Hashem malach, B'terem kol, Yitzir nivra, Li'et nasa, V'ef sokol, Azai melech shelo nikra Adon Olam, V'yado avkid ruchi, V'yeti shan v'ya'ira Adon Olam, Limruchi Gibeati, Adonai li v'lo ira Adon. You can start going to Adon Olam. Asher, we'll ask people to move relatively quickly. Not congregate in the congregation. B'chad sokol, Azai melech shelo nikra Adon Olam. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Oh, let's see, Yasher call to you. I gotta take the granny glasses off now. This is the worst.
Yeah, for sure.